Hi everyone. This is my real-time assessment integration rationale. As always, I found all of the articles to be relevant to this topic. I like the article on using, I always say this wrong, Socrative. Yeah, that's right, Socrative. I'd always thought it was designed for older students. I logged on yesterday and it's actually very easy to use. I'll have to be creative with the questioning because my kids can't read yet, but I like the space race option that makes the assessment a game. I was also interested in the clickers to the rescue article. The data, at least in this one classroom, definitely shows an improvement in test scores. That sparks my interest. The third article about games was probably the most relevant for me. I feel like I'm always looking for a way to turn my instruction into a game. It gives them more ownership when they are part of a game, and the engaged student always learns more. One of the most important purposes of real-time assessment is to provide instant feedback for teachers and students, which ultimately helps drive instruction. Another purpose of real-time assessment, like most technology integration, is to engage students using methods that are non-traditional in order to improve test scores. One of the ways that I would use real-time assessment in my classroom is Kahoot. I demonstrated this in my handheld device rationale, but it's even more relevant here. The kids love to use the device to answer. The other way I would use real-time assessment is a site called Plickers. This site is great because you don't have to have a device for every student. It uses kind of like a QR code technology that is printed out by the teacher and distributed to the students. All the student has to do to answer is hold up a card. I'll show you an example here. So this is the Plickers website. You download the app either to Apple or Android. And what happens is you set up a class and you assign each kid a number. So these are the numbers that I used. And then what you do is the questions pop up on the board. And so here's a sample question. How many apples are there? What my class would have to do is hold up their QR code for either A, B, C, or D. So what they look like is something like this. So depending on how they hold up the card, A is on one side, so they would hold this side up. B is on this side, C. So even the youngest child can do it. You laminate these and they're able to be used over and over again. So you don't need a device. All that happens is when they're holding up their card, you are using your smartphone or iPad or whatever, and it picks up the QR code and assigns it to every student. So whoever is number 1 has the number 1 card, whoever is number 2 has the number 2 card, and then it gives you that data and it puts it in this report section right here. So this is a great site, and I've tried it a couple times. It's hard with younger kids because they don't read. You have to read them the questions, but it really does have that clicker technology, and they like to do it. I considered the points of view from all of the articles, but I found the article about not just child's play and the one about clickers the most applicable to my teaching situation. Although the Socrative article did encourage me to research the site more than I had in the past. My assumptions about real-time assessment were similar to BYOD and handhelds. Sometimes I feel my students are just too young to truly benefit from a lot of tech. I thought real-time assessment like Kahoot and Plickers would be too distracting for them. And I was right in the beginning. But after modeling and teaching procedures, these assessments gave even my young students the opportunity to answer anonymously and confidently without worrying about the other students. I also thought it would be too expensive to get clicker technology in the younger grades. We're usually the last recipients of tech. But with tools like clickers, I can use the tech without the cost. Real-time assessment is meant to provide teachers with real-time information about instruction. It can solve the problem of grading multiple assessments, which frees up teacher time. It's also a tool that can help solve the issue of poor test scores. It engages students in assessment, which makes the assessment fun and therefore meaningful to the student. I think real-time assessment is something that teachers will actually use. It helps teachers. I think it'll be a positive thing. It helps teachers, not just students. It's a tool that can be used across the curriculum in any classroom from gym to reading. It can be used as a time saver for teachers anytime a question needs to be answered by the whole class. Something as simple as lunch count in the morning can be done with clicker technology. Like most other tech, information and time to learn about the technology would need to be provided for teachers. The concept and principles applies in this integration are multiple intelligences theory and the learning through play model. Multiple intelligences theory tells us that students learn in multiple different ways. It would stand to be true that students need to be assessed in different ways too. Most teachers do not teach just one way, so we shouldn't assess just one way either. I also consider the learning through play model again. It's a fact that kids just learn more when they're playing. They're more engaged, they're more interested, and therefore they retain more. The real-time aspect of clickers and programs like Socrative concern me. I feel like there's just so much data all of the time. When is there time to process and reflect on the constant data? I also wonder, what's next? Clickers and real-time assessment games will quickly become routine. Sometimes kids need to know that work is just that, work. It's not always going to be fun. I also have seen kids quickly learn how to work the system with these sites. They only click when their neighbor clicks, or hold the card the way the person in front of them is holding the card. Teachers still need to know their students.